Hey folks, Tom Bell here with your Diz Daily Fix for Wednesday, May 9th, 2018. Here's what's happening. It is earnings reports time again. Yesterday afternoon, the Walt Disney Company released their quarterly report and held a conference call to discuss their earnings for the most recent fiscal quarter, which is their second quarter, but actually the first quarter of 2018. CEO Bob Iger and CFO Christine McCarthy discussed the earnings in a conference call and took questions from select investors. The report showed growth in both revenue and operating income, thanks in large part to the Parks and Resorts and the Studio Entertainment divisions. The company posted a 9% boost in revenue compared to this quarter last year, and a 6% jump in operating income. Now, we know recently the company shook things up and restructured the company into different divisions. We won't see any of that probably on the fiscal reports until about 2019. So we will use the old references, which is the Consumer and Products and Interactive Media division, which is now part of Parks and Resorts. Anyway, that division struggled recently, has struggled recently, and this quarter had a small 2% growth in revenue and a 4% loss in operating income. The media networks had a 3% growth in revenue and a 6% loss in operating income. Now, the good news, over at the Parks and Resorts, there was a 13% growth in revenue and a 27% growth in operating income. Some of that is due to the fact that spring break was earlier this year, and part of that fell into this particular fiscal quarter. Some of that is offset by Shanghai, which struggled with weather, less than ideal weather, but Hong Kong Disneyland and Disneyland Paris did well. Some of the gains were also offset by a 2-week dry dock by the Disney Magic. Over in the Studio Entertainment division, there was a large 21% growth in revenue and 29% growth in operating income. This quarter last year included the live-action Beauty and the Beast and the last few weeks of Rogue One, so that large of a gain was not expected. They didn't mention the disappointing A Wrinkle in Time, but they were very proud of the results of Black Panther, which is where all the gains come from. Our own Charles Boda does a great job of breaking down the rest of the numbers, so head over to wdwinfo.com for more details on the facts and figures. But moving on to the question and answer session, much of the discussion was about all the new digital streaming services, the Disney version or the ESPN Plus version that's coming. Iger was asked about the connection between the 21st Century, the assets for the acquisition of the assets for 21st Century Fox and that Disney digital streaming service. He said that while the service is not dependent on the Fox acquisition, it is expected to benefit from it. Earlier, Iger had talked about that Disney streaming service and said it would not go online until late 2018 because they are working on creating new content, but they are also waiting for the Netflix agreement to expire. Another investor asked about, with the successes of the parks currently, hotels at 90%, how can there still be room to grow in the Parks and Resorts division? Iger said that the growth will come from park expansions like Toy Story Land that's coming soon and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge that's coming next year, plus the 3 new ships coming to Disney Cruise Line as well. He said growth will also come from the increased use of intellectual properties and the increased use of technology. Finally, Iger discussed the Marvel films and said that while next year's Avengers movie is meant to be a conclusion or a culmination to the series, Iger said, quote, "There are a lot more stories to tell," end quote. In other news, now this is kind of going back to the 21st Century Fox discussion. Of course, that is still not set in stone, especially considering the reports of Comcast attempting to put together a bid. But if the deal does go through, it appears that James Murdoch, who's the son of founder Rupert Murdoch, will not be part of the transition. Now, up to this point, it has been expected that James Murdoch would move into an executive position within Disney as part of the deal. His father, Rupert Murdoch, and brother Lachlan would remain with what has been dubbed New Fox, made up of the company's remaining Fox News Channel, Fox Business Network, and the Fox Broadcast Network. It was even speculated that James Murdoch would be in the running to replace Bob Iger if he should ever retire. So apparently that's all out the window. Instead, according to the Wall Street Journal, James Murdoch plans to work independently, quote, most likely by starting a venture capital fund to invest in digital and international media businesses, end quote. We'll continue to follow that and continue to follow changes to that and updates to that Fox, 21st Century Fox acquisition deal. Finally today, we hear rumors about this all the time, but new evidence suggests again that Disney Cruise Line might be closing in on a location for a second private island. We all love Castaway Cay, but how about 2 Castaway Cays? According to the Bahamian news outlet The Tribune, a Disney Cruise Line spokesperson confirmed that the company is interested in creating a new private island on what they call Lighthouse Point. The 700-acre property is currently being advertised online for sale, and according to the Bahamas Real Estate Association's website, is, quote, an ideal setting for a grand vision with exceptional beachfront acreage, colorful coral reefs, and a breathtaking landscape. End quote. Disney Cruise Line spokesperson Kim Prunty said that the cruise line didn't have anything to share about a specific location or any project pursued by the company in the future but any project pursued by the company in the future would, quote, involve, quote, a partnership with the community and build on its commitment to, quote, sustainability, protecting the environment, creating jobs and economic growth opportunity, and celebrating the culture and stories of the area, end quote. Sorry, that was a big quote. Prunty's remarks seem to be aimed at the local area, which has already started an online campaign to save Lighthouse Point. So we will see how that plays out. Today's featured article on the Diz is from Matt Carpenter, who discusses the best place to get away from the crowds at California Adventure. Remember the good old days when the best way to get away from the crowds was California Adventure? I do. Anyway, you will find Matt's article and more over at wdwinfo.com. Trending on the Disboards today is a thread from poster Rick at 96, who talks about how much the new parking fees at Walt Disney World are adding to the cost of his vacation and wonders where others will draw the line. You can check out his thread, What Will Be Your Breaking Point? Resort Fees? In the Theme Parks, Attractions, and Strategies forum at disboards.com. Finally, the weather. Partly cloudy and warm in Orlando. High of 90 tomorrow with a low of 66. One more warm day in Anaheim before it cools down. High of 80. Low of 59 with sunny skies. You can find links to all these stories and more on our Daily Fix main page at wdwinfo.com/dailyfix. That's going to do it for me today, but be sure to join us again tomorrow for the next installment of the Diz Daily Fix. Have a great day.